Blue hives just got completely changed on how they make their honey in the new blooms update, which is why I've made a complete blue hive guide. Let's get started now. We're going to begin with the hive composition. First, we're going to do our event. Bees. First, you're going to want a tabby bee, then get a gummy bee, one bear bee, one windy bee, one festive bee, and here is where it gets up to you. You can have a cobalt bee, but you can also choose to have a gifted vicious bee for the attack and bonus. So you can have a vicious bee as your last event bee, but you can also have a cobalt bee if you don't have a gifted, vicious bee, or you're badly overfilling. Now, we'll do our mythic bees. So you're going to have about 18 buoyant bees and 9 tadpoles. You may have to adjust this for your needs, but you should have at least double the amount of buoyants compared to tadpole bees. Now that's over, you're going to want one fuzzy bee. Now, we've finished our mythic bees. Let's do our legendaries. You'll want 3 music bees. After that, you'll want 1 ninja bee, 1 diamond bee. You can add an extra tadpole or buoyant bee. It's up to you. Let's move on to our epics. First, you'll want a shocked bee, 1 frosty bee, 1 commander bee, 1 bucko bee, 1 bubble bee, and a stubborn bee to start the rare bees, 1 looker bee, 1 cool bee, 1 bumble bee, and the finishing touch, every hive to exist needs 1 gifted basic bee, because you do not want to miss out on 1.2x pollen. Speaking of gifted, I forgot to say that you want all of your bees to be gifted when you're making the hive, or as many as you can. Alright, now that the easiest part is over, we're moving on to the bee quips. Don't worry, bee quips aren't that hard, so let's go over it. First, we'll start with 2 elf caps, 1 for tabby and 1 for gummy. You want honey at hive and convert rate at hive. Next, you want 2 pine cones, 1 for frosty bee and 1 for bear bee with high pine forest capacity and high pine tree forest pollen. Now, you'll want 1 kazoo for one of your buoyant bees with high critical power. Then, you're going to want a camphor lip balm for your bumblebee with either high bubble pollen or gold bubble pollen, or both. Now, you'll want a yellow whistle for your commander bee with bee move speed or melody. If you get melody on the whistle, you can replace one of your music bees for a tadpole or buoyant bee. Then you'll want a candy ring on your diamond bee with high honey at hive. After that, you'll want a toy drum for your bucko bee with bee ability pollen. Now, get a snow tiara on shocked bee with blue field capacity. Next, use a festive wreath with capacity and honey at hive. After, put a bead lizard on basic bee with bubble pollen and bee ability pollen. If you have the extra bee quip slots, put a charm bracelet on ninja bee with honey at hive or melody. If you have melody on the whistle and bracelet, you'll only need 1 music bee. If only one has melody, keep 2 music bees. And finally, run 2 beesmas hats on your buoyant bees with convert rate at hive. That finishes our bee quips. Let's start the mutations now. Although mutations are a bit more complicated than the bee quips, it's still fairly easy. You're going to want move speed on all non-mythic or event bees, move speed on tadpole bees, convert amount on buoyant bees, move speed on bear, gummy, and puppy bee if you replaced something for it, and convert amount on tabby and festive bee. Now, it's amulet time, which is the hardest part yet, but stay with me. For your Supreme Star Amulet, you're going to want 2.5 times capacity, 15 to 70% blue pollen, 1.05 to 1.25 times convert rate, 1 to 7% bee ability rate, 1 to 7% critical chance, and 5 to 20% pollen. For the passives, you want Pop Shower Amulet, but Pop Guiding works too. Even a good 5 out of 5 Pop Star Amulet will work fine. Next, for your Supreme Cog Amulet, you're going to want 200,000 to 250,000 capacity, 25% to 30% blue pollen, 15% to 20% bubble pollen, 5% to 10% ability token lifespan, and 4% to 5% blue conversion. After that, for your Ant Amulet you want blue pollen percentage, max 30, white pollen, again max 30, pollen, max 5%. Convert rate, max 110, critical chance, max 3%, and critical power at max 50%. For your snail amulet, you want 21 to 25 plus convert amount, 11 to 15% goo, and 4 to 5% pollen. For your stick bug amulet, you want 200,000 to 300.0 capacity, 1.2 to 1.25 times convert rate, 25 to 30% blue pollen, and 25 to 30% pollen. For your moon amulet, it's not that complicated. You only need 2 to 8% honey per pollen, and 3 to 10% bond from treats, or white pollen if you're a high level. Lastly, for your king beetle amulet, you're going to want any convert rate up to 100, bamboo field pollen at max 100%, and 1 bee attack. Now, we're finally moving on to the nectar priority. It's not that mind-blowing. It's just motivating, comforting, satisfying, refreshing, and invigorating. Now that we've went over the main blue hive, it's time to do the diamond bee meta. First is the hive composition. First, you're going to want a bear bee, gummy bee, festive bee, poppy bee, tabby bee, and windy bee. Next, you'll want 16 buoyant bees and 8 tadpole bees. That's all our mythics. Let's move on. You're going to want 8 diamond bees, as this is the diamond bee meta. Then get 3 music bees, and 1 ninja bee. Now, you'll want 1 bubble bee, 1 commander bee, 1 shocked bee, and 1 bucko bee. Now, you'll want 1 looker bee, 1 cool bee, 1 bumble bee, and how could I forget, a gifted basic bee. And again, remember to gift all the bees, or as many bees as you can. Moving on to the bee quips. First, you're going to want 2 elf caps on 2 of your diamond bees with high honey at hive, and convert rate at hive. Next, we want 2 pine cones for our bear bee and frosty bee with high pine tree forest pollen and capacity. After that, you want a kazoo on your buoyant bee with high critical power. Next, you'll want a camphor lip balm on your bubble bee with high bubble pollen or gold bubble pollen, or both. Next, you'll want a whistle on your commander bee with bee move, speed, or melody. If you get melody, replace one of your music bees with a diamond bee. Then, you'll want a candy ring on a daemon bee with high honey at hive. After that, you want a toy drum on bucko bee with bee ability pollen. Then get reindeer antlers for your puppy bee for the capacity. Continue with the snow tiara for diamond bee with high blue field capacity. Next, use a festive wreath with capacity and honey at hive. If you have the extra bee quip slots, use a charm bracelet with honey at hive or melody for diamond bee. If you have melody on the whistle and bracelet, you can use 1 music bee. If you only have 1 of them, use 2. And to finish, you want 2 beesmas tree hats for diamond bees with convert rate at hive. Now, let's do the mutations. You want move speed on your tadpoles, convert amount on buoyant and diamond bees, move speed on all non-mythic and event bees, move speed on bear, gummy, windy, and puppy bee, and convert amount on tabby and festive bee. That concludes our diamond bee meta. The nectar priority and amulets are the same. Now, we'll quickly wrap the video up with the pre-saw blue hive. Although you shouldn't go a hive color early, sometimes it's necessary for things like honey day. Starting again with the hive composition. You're going to want a bear bee, a festive bee, a tabby bee, a gummy bee, a vicious bee, and a cobalt bee. Next you'll want a looker bee, a bomber bee, a stubborn bee, a bumble bee, a cool bee. Then, you're going to want 4 baby bees and for music bees, and a ninja bee, a demon bee, and 2 diamond bees, 1 bucko bee, 1 commander bee, 1 shocked bee, and 2 bubble bees. Then get 1 tadpole bee, and 1 fuzzy bee. Then add 1 buoyant bee. Then fill the rest of the hive in with frosty bees, but leave only 1 free slot. This is obviously for our gifted basic bee. There's not much more to say for the early game blow hive, so as long as you have mutations on some bees, a few gifted bees here and there, and a pretty basic amulet with at least blue pollen on it, you're good to go. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe, drop a like, and I'll see you in the next one.